could be a little bit behind the times here because this is a post from Aidan Carney dating back to March of this year, but still interesting nonetheless. Yikes. Is this the most ugly ass website on the entire interwebs? And I gotta ask, who is this Patrick McCabe? Is he one of the McCabes? I'm gonna have to do a deep dive on that one. Anyway, this is Judge Beverly J. Cannoni's nomination as an Associate Justice of the Superior Court in February 2014. And who did the opening statements? None other than Robert C. Cosgrove. Hey Cosy, tell us all about your history with Judge Beverly Cannoni.
Okay, here we go. Good afternoon. How are you, Judge? Good to see you.
Nice to see you.
Okay.
Get some more water and a cup of... Thank you.
Those cups are this anyway.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you can sit down. At this point, I'll introduce members of the Governor's Council. To my right, Councilor Devaney, Councilor Cipollini, Councilor Albano, Councilor Casey, and Councilor Kennedy. At this point, I'll read a letter dated April 15th, addressed to the Governor's Council. Dear Councilors, I'm pleased to nominate Beverly J. Cannoni to the position of Associate Justice of the Superior Court. I submit this nomination for the advice and consent of the Executive Council pursuant to Part 2, Chapter 2 of the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Sincerely, Deval Patrick, Governor. At this point, any witnesses, if they could stand? And yourself, who's going to testify, do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give today is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. And Judge, I have your witness list before we hear from you. I know you have some distinguished folks who have busy schedules, so we'll hear from them. And the first on the list is the Honorable Robert Cosgrove.
Good afternoon, Councilor Iannella and members of the Council. Some 7 years after this body was kind enough to confer me to the Superior Court, it's a pleasure to be back in front of you. Prefer that I sit? Sure. But more so because it affords me an opportunity to thank you for the important work that you do and also to express my strong support for Ms. Cannoni's nomination to the Superior Court. My rough calculation is that I've known Beverly Cannoni for about 27 years. In a sense, we had parallel careers. She spent most and perhaps all of her career working, before she was appointed to the District Court, working for the Committee for Public Counsel Services in Norfolk County office. I, for most of that same time, worked in the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office. So I had occasion frequently to see Beverly in court. I had cases with her. She was regarded by my colleagues and certainly by myself as a very capable adversary, one who would represent her clients in very vigorous fashion, someone who knew the value of the case, and was a superb negotiator, I must say. I think it's also fair to say that in our business, one's negotiating power improves when the other side knows that you're not afraid to take a case to trial, and we certainly knew that Beverly was an excellent trial attorney. While I was in Norfolk, although I always carried a caseload in the trial court, the bulk of my work was actually at the appellate level. I know that reading transcripts is regarded by some people as sort of the equivalent of having to eat your vegetables, but at best it's kind of a master class in trial practice, and I had the opportunity then not only to see Beverly in the courtroom, but to read on a more reflective basis transcripts of her performance matched up against some of the best attorneys in our office. And the impression that I took away was the same, that she knows the rules of evidence, she knows procedure, and she knows also very much how to make and protect a record, which, believe me, is also a valuable quality in a Superior Court judge. I remember one case in particular that I worked on the appeal, Commonwealth versus Miller. It represented, I think it's fair to say, quite a challenge, would have represented quite a challenge for any defense attorney, and Judge Cannoni, Attorney Cannoni at the time, was trying the case opposite Mary Ann Hinkle, now one of her colleagues in the district court, but then a very aggressive and capable prosecutor. And as the case was underway, at one point Judge Del Vecchio called the lawyers up to sidebar and observed that they were really going at it pretty fiercely. And then there was what I took to be a pause. Of course, I'm just reading the cold transcript, but I took to be a pause. And she said, "I love it." And I can't read her mind, but I'm pretty sure that what she meant was that, serious as the case was, it's just a real pleasure to see very capable advocates on both sides presenting the case at the top of the form to you as a judge. I have had less contact with Judge Cannoni for, I guess, obvious reasons since her appointment to the bench. I think I reviewed a few of her bails when I was sitting out in Taunton. But my contact with her since then has often been in the context of MCLE programs, particularly the sexual assault program, which she chairs. And it's just a wonderful program that I think reflects her commitment to the bar. And one of the reasons, I've done it several times, one of the reasons it's so excellent is she doesn't repackage the same program for the last year. What can we do to make this program better for the bar? And I have no doubt that she would apply that same kind of intensity and diligence to her work on the Superior Court. So I don't want to go on too long. I just want to say that in nominating Beverly, the governor has selected not an armchair lawyer, but someone who is deeply and fully familiar with the work of the Superior Court, and one who I think would be a terrific asset to our court if, as I hope you do, you see fit to confirm the nomination. Thank you very much, and if there are questions.
Thank you very much. Any questions, Councilor Devaney?
Welcome, Mayor.
Being no one in opposition, Judge, we'll hear from you if you can give us a brief presentation.
Thank you.
That's why you believe you should be an Associate Justice in the Superior Court.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Councilor Ionella and councilors. It's an honor to sit here before you today as a nominee for a position on the Superior Court. I am very grateful for the governor for his confidence in my ability, and I thank this body for your consideration of my nomination. I'm very humbled by all of this. As you may know, I grew up in Quincy, one of 6 kids who went through the Quincy Public Schools. We all played sports, some, my brother John, with distinction, others for fun. We all began working when we were kids. My siblings and I had a paper route. I worked for the Quincy Recreation Department. I worked at the Milton Cinema. I waitressed all through high school, college, and well into law school. Our mother worked in the lunchrooms of our schools when we were growing up, and our father was a public defender and one of the first full-time ADAs in Massachusetts under Bill Delahunt. My husband Frank also grew up in a working-class family. He's from Dorchester. We've been married 30 years this summer. Our parents worked hard, and the values they instilled in us serve us well today. Integrity, respect for others, and the desire and ability to work hard are traits that we're now proud to see in our own children. Growing up, I had always hoped that I would have a career in the courtroom. Some of my fondest memories as a kid involved some of the greatest legal minds of our times. There were defense lawyers, prosecutors, judges sitting around our family's dinner table, telling war stories and laughing and yelling and arguing well into the night. I knew then that I would be a lawyer and a voice for those who needed one the most. And I was fortunate to start at CPCS right out of law school in 1985, at a time when more cases went to trial than they do today. My first client was indicted, so I began in Superior Court immediately. And I remember I tried 6 Superior Court jury trials in a 5-month span before I had even been a lawyer for 2 years. It's just how we did things back then. In the nearly 25 years that I was a public defender, I tried dozens of cases in Superior Court, ranging from OUIs and drug cases to armed robberies, rapes, and murder cases. Most of my trials were life felonies, and I represented defendants in some of the most heinous crimes in Norfolk County. So I know what it's like to stand next to the most despised person in the courthouse when the jurors hear the indictments read for the first time. To provide no answers, but perhaps some small comfort to a family who's lost a child through violence, either through death or prison. I know what it's like to not see much of my own family because when on trial, most of my time was spent at my dining room table, working long into the night. And to scour the case law to try and find a case that might provide me the means to succeed on a motion to suppress to get my client out from under a 15-year mandatory minimum sentence. Through my work, I've witnessed the pain, desperation, and confusion that often overwhelms people when they're thrown into the court system. I do my best to afford each person who appears before me the dignity that he or she deserves. I promised the governor 4.5 years ago that I would look each person in the eye who appeared before me and call them by name. I have done that every day, and I will always do that. I was a trial lawyer, and I'm a judge, but like all of us, I don't want to be defined solely by my career. Frank and I raised 3 boys. Nick, our youngest, is here today. He's a student, he's a junior at the University of Rhode Island. He is doing very well, and he has found his niche. It's the great place for him. I served on the board at my kids' nursery school. I was on my town's education foundation forever, 7, 8, 9 years, something like that. And I've taught them all at CCD. I read about 40 or 50 novels a year, but I couldn't tell you the name of the book I'm reading right now or what I read last week. I cook for large family gatherings and for my son's friends and their teammates, and I've run the Boston Marathon 9 times in the last 13 years. Very, very slowly. I know how fortunate I am to live the life that I live, and I understand and am aware that the whole world could change in an instant. I think that balance that I achieve between my personal and professional lives contributes to my ability to be a good judge and be empathetic to all who may appear before me. And I've cried in court. I love being a district court judge. I wake up every day grateful for the opportunity that was given to me and looking forward to going to work. I work with some amazing people. All have met Judge Hand. I believe the work done by the dedicated judges in the district court is very important, and I have found it tremendously rewarding. And I firmly believe that under the leadership of Chief Justice Dolly, the District Court of Massachusetts will become the model for the nation. And I've enjoyed being a part of that. But I miss the Superior Court. I miss the gravity and complexity of the cases that I tried there. As a trial lawyer, I prided myself on my knowledge of evidence and my trial skills. I've been honored by the Mass Bar, by CPCS, and the American College of Trial Lawyers for my ability as a trial lawyer. I'd like to return to the Superior Court as a judge because I believe that I can contribute to that great court. I respectfully and humbly ask you for your support.
Thank you very much. Before we have the counselors ask you questions, are there any family or friends that you'd like to introduce?
Yes. My son Dick, and my husband Frank Canoni, and my brother John is here. My brother John Prescott. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll tell you quickly my piece of evidence that's on the top of my list is the alternative theory as to what happened, namely that Mr. O'Keefe was not injured and was not killed at where he was located. That was someplace else, and we had solid medical and other evidence, and we were not allowed to proffer even the evidence, let alone push the theory. And, isn't that a fundamental Sixth Amendment right, your constitutional right to a defense? Inherent in your constitutional right to a defense is the ability to put forth an alternative theory to that of the prosecution. And we had tremendous evidence backed by facts, backed by experts, and we were not allowed to go there. I wasn't even allowed to go there in my cross-examination of Dr. Scorty Bello, the medical examiner, who couldn't determine the manner of death. So why then wasn't it a minimum that I could pursue those questions, and I was not allowed to do so? That, I think, was an unfortunate situation, but that stuck out for me.